Welcome to the Doggy Dutch Audio Stories, where weekly card readings open into reflections on manifestation, systems, sovereignty, and everyday life. Brought to you by the Etsy shop Alchemy of Me. The line is not the limit coloring book and the walking the universe ecosystem for manifestation. Episode 14. Have you ever wanted a different relationship with money than the one you inherited? This episode is for such moments. The title for today's story is Dutch's Money Roller Coaster.
Dutch has been reflecting on his social justice and manifestation oracle card pull. A reading drawn using the thesis of us oracle cards for social justice and the metaphor for life manifestation oracle cards. Available for instant download from the Etsy shop Alchemy of Me.
The cards in the reading were Re-emerge deserving, Rediscover abundance, Emerge expansive, and Rekindle wonder.
Dutch has been letting the reading sit beside him, carrying the cards quietly, and noticing what reveals itself.
Lately, Dutch has been thinking about his relationship with money, how he treats it, how he feels about money, how he relates to it, how systems and everything he's been taught has shaped his behavior regarding money before he had any say in it.
And he wanted something different. He wanted his own relationship with money, built consciously, one moment at a time.
So Dutch sat down one day and made a list of his own words, for his own relationship with money, words for the ordinary moments, words to greet money when he woke up, words for when money touched his life, when he checked his account or when a bill arrived, when money left or came in, and words for before he slumbered, statements he could reach for to speak to money, the way he would speak to a friend and partner.
He called them his empowering motivational statements for money. And the morning was where it began. Before he got out of bed and showered or reached for his phone, he greeted money and abundance by saying,
"Good morning, money. I treasure everything you bring into my life. What a beautiful unfolding we have before us. Welcome, prosperity. I greet you with love as we begin. I look forward to everything we have ahead of us. Rise and shine, supply. I honor your presence. I embrace all that we are creating. Hello, wealth. I am glad you are here with me. It is wonderful to move through this world with you." Then he would get out of bed, brush his teeth, and make his coffee.
Today, he woke up and went through that same routine. First, before he got out of bed, he greeted his friend Money. And now he was in his kitchen making coffee. As it brewed, he picked up his phone, only to be greeted by a text from his banking app. Dutch immediately felt his nervous system bracing, his body tightening before he read the message, before he knew if there was anything to brace for. He set the phone down for a moment and reached for his empowering motivational statements. Specifically the ones he created for the nervous system anxiety that surfaced right before he checked his banking app.
Dutch took a breath, and then he recited a few of his empowering statements. Words like, "What I see is information, not a prediction. My balance is a moment in my relationship with money, not the whole of it. Money, I'm not afraid to look at you. I am allowed to meet this moment without fear deciding the meaning."
Dutch took a big, slow breath in and picked up the phone to read the text. It was his banking app informing him that his monthly statement was ready. He exhaled, put the phone down, finished making his coffee, and went to get his mail.
There were 2 envelopes. He collected them and went and sat at his dining room table to drink and enjoy his coffee. He paused, taking in the deep coffee aroma, and then he opened the first envelope. It was a bill for hearing aids for $5,000.
Dutch took a breath and reached for one of his empowering statements. He whispered,
"This is not my current plan, but I am still rooted."
Then he took a few breaths, set that invoice aside, and nervously opened the second envelope. It was a bill for a busted pipe in the ceiling from a slow-leaking toilet. He had known the plumbing bill was coming and had been preparing to meet it, but he was not expecting the bill for his hearing aids. He genuinely thought his insurance would take care of most, if not all of it. But the maze of coverage and its limits had left him with more than anticipated.
Neither bill was a result of carelessness. The repair like his hearing aids, was not optional. The pipe broke because pipes break. His ears needed tending because bodies change over time. And he felt that familiar tightening in his chest, with its accompanying drop in his stomach.
So, Dutch reached for the words he had created to use when his body braced around money. And he wrote them on one of the bill's envelopes.
Financial stress lands in the body, which is my humanity responding to inhumane systems. And I can choose not to let that stress be my only relationship with money. I can let that stress fall and spiral to the ground, just like a withered leaf does from an autumn tree.
He closed his eyes to imagine that for a moment, the leaf falling from the tree. And he inhaled a slow breath. As he did, he repeated to himself another of his money statements.
I notice where I am holding tension around money, in my body, mind, soul, or spirit. And I breathe an acknowledgement to care for myself, to heal my relationship with money, and to soften what I can.
He exhaled and slowly opened his eyes. Almost instantly, the voices arrived. One whispered that this was evidence of faithlessness, a consequence of not being right enough, of falling outside the protection of the divine.
Another said this was his vibration attracting disruption, that his belief was a block, and his alignment the problem.
And underneath both, the system's oldest story, that this was simply what happened to people like him, the consequence of not working hard enough, not planning well enough, not saving enough, that if he had made better choices, he would be protected, that stability was earned, and if he did not have it, it was because he had not earned it.
All three voices pointing a blaming finger at him. All three saying that scarcity was his personal failure. None of them acknowledging that scarcity was a condition that had been shaped long before this moment arrived.
Dutch reached for the words he curated for when any limitation, scarcity, and lack story arrived. Words of self that said,
Limitation, lack, and scarcity are not my origin. The unfolding of my money and abundance does not require impeccable execution of thought, feeling, behavior, or vibration from me. I do not collapse into what lack, scarcity, and limitation try to say I am. My humanity does not need be silenced, nor does my reality need to be ignored, or my lived experience sidelined from my success and thriving. I do not pretend the conditions aren't real. I name what systems do, and I refuse to be only what those conditions say I am. I do not need to resolve everything in order to remain grounded or thrive. I don't moralize either expansion or contraction.
Those statements landed in his mind, body, soul, and spirit. And he took a few, very slow, very deep breaths to let them penetrate.
Then Dutch took a moment to finish his coffee before it could get too cold. He let all his affirmations continue to sink in as he washed his cup in the sink. When he finished, he decided that he would take a quick walk outside, a moment for his nervous system to give it reprieve.
The walk was refreshing. The air, the movement, his body settling after what had landed. As he walked, Dutch thought,
The day-to-day of life can move slowly, but his relationship with money did not have to be measured against that. It was allowed to grow and evolve on its own terms.
And that was what Dutch was trying to do, to heal that wounded connection and form a new bond. So he reached for the words he had drafted for his relationship with money when bills arrived. His words of steadiness, and repeated them like a mantra to himself as he walked. Dutch said,
These bills do not define my financial position. My path to resolving them is inevitable and unfolding.
Then he took a step, and next he said,
Bills do not undo me. I am not starting over.
Then he took another step forward and said,
These bills are nothing more than a momentary interruption, and I am not defined by these bills or this interruption.
And with another step he said,
Light is both wave and particle. Likewise, I am allowed to hold duality. The bills are real, and so is my abundance.
He went step, affirmation, step, affirmation, step, affirmation, moving with rhythm as he walked. Then, suddenly, his phone buzzed, surprising him, startling him away from his thoughts.
He reluctantly checked it, and this time the message was a courtesy text from his electricity company, thanking him for paying his monthly bill.
Instead of relief, Dutch noticed the tightening returning, and his mind saying, money is leaving. So Dutch reached for the words he had created for his relationship with money when money left. His words of circulation. And he said them out loud, speaking to money as he would a person.
Money, I appreciate what you did while you were here, and I appreciate what you're doing as you go. Paying bills does not unseat me. Money, you are like water in a hydrologic cycle. You never disappear. You change form. You travel. You return. So when I spend, you are not leaving me. You are organizing, supporting, and returning. Money, thank you for circulating through me.
Dutch continued with his walk, and as he did he thought,
My money is reliable like a boomerang. It leaves, but leaving is the beginning of its return, and just like the boomerang, my money always comes back.
Dutch finished his walk and returned home to make himself lunch. He was hungry after the bills and the walk. He had been so preoccupied, he had forgotten to eat anything for breakfast. As he opened the fridge, his phone buzzed again.
It was a notification that his friend had sent him money, paying him back for their half a dinner from over the weekend.
And Dutch observed something interesting. Even receiving had a reflex attached. The impulse to rush past the inflow. To not quite let it land. To already be thinking about when that money would go, and to plan where.
Like maybe toward his bills from today's mail.
Dutch paused. And he decided to reach for the words he had created for his relationship with money when money arrived. His words of receiving, and he said them out loud.
Money, you are welcome here. I receive you, and I appreciate you being here. Money, I notice you. I do not rush past you. I savor this moment of flow. I receive without fear or worry about your departure.
Dutch gave himself time to let the money land, to validate its arrival, to savor it, to not let survival make him rush past it.
Later that day, Dutch sat on his couch with his diary, and he reflected on his reading. First he thought about the card, re-emerged deserving. He thought, the bills didn't get to decide deserving. The system didn't get to decide deserving. Regardless of everything, and no matter what, he was deserving.
He realized that he lived the card rediscover abundance every time he reached for his empowering money statements to build his friendship with his finances. He lived it when he greeted money in the morning, as he walked, as he wrote, as he spoke, as he took slow breaths in and out.
And he was emerging expansive through the use of his statements, growing the parts of himself that were larger than the tightening, larger than the bills, larger than his balance, there and present through all of it.
And he felt the card rekindle wonder. He was curious about money now, not as afraid of it, and building something of his own with it. That night, Dutch lay in bed, and, before he could fall asleep, he reached for his good night words to money and said them.
Good night, money. You are a loyal partner. I appreciate how you continue to support me even when I slumber. Good night, my dear friend Money. I can rest assured that what belongs to me continues organizing itself. Good night, Money. Because you are a faithful partner in my life, my finances continue in motion even as I sleep. As I close my eyes, I release the need to manage you.
The dark of night had settled outside Dutch's bedroom window. The bills were still on the table where he left them. Life was still life. But Dutch had moved through a whole day authoring his relationship to money. And he did it one moment, one instance, one event, one step at a time. As he drifted to dreamland, Dutch thought,
Today was a roller coaster, eventful and unpredictable. And today was a good day. The end. If something in this met you, take a breath with Dutch and let it simmer for a moment. Let's breathe in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold together. 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep noticing what reveals itself along the way. And remember, if you would like to perform your own readings, the thesis of a social justice oracle cards, And the Metaphor for Life Manifestation Oracle cards are available for print and immediate download from the Etsy shop. Alchemy of Me.